So today we talk about Bhakti Yoga, which you can literally translate as the yoga of devotion, the yoga of love, of surrender, and you could also translate it as the yoga of religion, or to put it otherwise, you could say that religion is an expression of Bhakti Yoga on a more social level. Bhakti Yoga can be something very personal. Then it is just Bhakti Yoga. When a group of people starts doing Bhakti Yoga together, and the bigger this group gets, the more we enter into the land of religion. And I think in the West, Bhakti Yoga, of all yogas that come from India, is the one who is having the most problems. Like religion has problems, likewise Bhakti Yoga has problems. And many yoga schools very clearly will say in their leaflets or on their websites that their organization is about yoga, but not about religion. Some even will say it is about yoga, not about spirituality. So, for me, it is not easy with my students to talk about Bhakti Yoga. There is a lot of resistance. But I still talk about it because I know, first of all, that you can't escape it. That at some point, it has to become a part of yoga. And I also know that for me personally, it really saved me. It really gave whatever I was doing in yoga a very big amount of energy, an amount of power, and without it my yoga would not be what it is today. So I try to convince these people who are generally very atheistic, anti-religion, that it's not because the bath water is dirty that you have to throw away the child also. I don't know if this is an expression you have in Finnish, but this is, in my language it is to throw away the child with the bath water. So this is not what should be done. And we can talk about what are then the problems with religion and why people are having so much problem with it. But we'll do that more in the end. Let's first have a look at what is Bhakti Yoga and why it is so important. Basically, what we have been talking about yesterday in Ashtanga Yoga mostly concerns working with mind. All these steps of Ashtanga Yoga are aiming at stopping mind. And the general idea or technique behind it is, if you can stop mind long enough, then the ego will dissolve because it will no longer be fed by thoughts. And then so the problem of the ego is also solved. But many approaches in yoga mostly target the ego directly, rather than working through mind. And in practice, obviously, you have to do both, as I explained, the yoga of being serious, the yoga of not being serious. But some yogas are there to work with the ego, and in the Vedic tradition, they see that there are three essential ways to deal with the ego. And the first way we actually discussed yesterday morning, that is Jnana Yoga. Ask the ego, who are you? Take the ego apart by questioning it, by reasoning about it, by trying to find it. And that way you will find that the ego actually does not exist. It's a false identity consisting of words and concepts and ideas and past and plans for the future and all these things, which in fact have no central body, you could say. Even in the view of Vedic science about our different bodies that I was explaining. There is no body for the ego. The ego is just the first concept that exists within our intellect, within our body of knowledge. The first concept of I am that. Ego means aham kara in Sanskrit, which can be translated as I am this meat. Aham means I am, kara means meat. I am this meat, I am this flesh, I am this body. This is the first concept, and all other concepts are based on it. But it is nothing but a concept, a false idea. So, to get rid of this idea, we can use Jnana Yoga. But there are also two other yogas which can be used. And one of them is Bhakti Yoga. To give up the false identity, to give up one's own desires, one's own projects, one's own fears, in love for the divine. This is Bhakti Yoga. And the third one is Karma Yoga. In Karma Yoga, we give up our own needs and desires in selfless service to the universe. Whether it is to the universe at large or a small part of it. Mother Teresa is a very good example of a Karma Yogi. She also has no personal problems, or had no personal problems. Her only problem was how could she help as many people as possible. But that was not her problem. That was not a personal thing. All she needed was, little food, little clothing, little place to sleep, that's all. Else, all her life she dedicated to the poor of India. So, those are the three parts. And while these paths really exist as separate traditions, meaning you can find in India really bhaktas who are very much into Bhakti Yoga, and real jnanis, and real karma yogis. Most yogis actually will combine those three, some way or another. And this is very logical if you think that there are really only three things that we can do. We can think, we can feel, and we can act. Nothing more to do. Only these three things. So then what they say is, if you think the truth, Jnana Yoga. If you feel love, Bhakti Yoga. If you act in selfless service, Karma Yoga. So these three yogas are really three ways to deal with whatever you are doing. And depending on what needs to be done or on what you want to do, you will apply this yoga or that yoga or that yoga. And they are truly one.